pretty sure we went over placebos and then Prometheus monster, how the world we've been carved into believing a world that's made by accident, then men evolved and we tried to recreate ourselves. And then the Lord woke me up. I need to do something, need to make a video about the Lawrence of Arabia, the expedition to Egypt and how they try to portray that. And it does seem that everything is trying to be fit into the Zionist method by Satan to get us, odds are 100% that we would end up exactly in this predicament. Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood Was Armageddon. The Mud Flood was the Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. I know nobody watches Lawrence of Arabia because it's too LGBTQ plus. I get it. I always avoided it, but the Zionism thing, the Palestine thing, the genocide of Gaza, the what? We're working with the bad guys. We've been the bad guys. Hey, that's where I'm going with this. Let's check it out. Let's get this disclaimer out of the way. There you go. That should be disclaimed. Looks like it. And the pictures for today. What do we got? We got the Reaper drones. I got there it is, the Red Shields. I mean, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. You know, they talk about Lawrence of Arabia going and offering up his body to save the day and then like, oh, I didn't know they were going to trick you and not give it to you and carve up the Palestine thing. Look at that. It's a Rolls Royce. It is called the Cleopatra. Is that Her Majesty's something? This is like 1910, 13. Look at that. You know what a real woman is going to be soon? Somebody that can make sandals out of aloe plants. Believe me, it's not as easy as it looks. There she goes. Look at it. That's a sharp knife, very sharp. She has roasted this aloe, and that's a woman's sewing kit. A lot of people didn't know that. You need this. You need all of these little things because you gotta tuck these things in on the bottom. Look how that's the easy part. Got to make your sandals out of yucca. I said aloe, I meant yucca. Two different kinds. Well, I don't need to tell you it's two different kinds. Look, it's cords and the fibers from the narrow yucca. I love the yucca flowers. I had some in my yard in Lake Zurich, Illinois for 30 years. Look at, there's at least 3 Rolls Royces. Lawrence of Arabia's war, the Arabs, the British, the taking over the Middle East. Cars, the Model T was not rolling off the line. They had jet engines and machine guns mounted, saying, nah, let's get our friends from Australia and New Zealand and India and Egypt. It wasn't camel riding Bedouins. We have an Alamo in our town, but it's all covered with stucco. I was just looking at the columns. Alamo. Everything I read in the Bible is true. I believe that Jesus Christ rose from the dead, and I believe in my heart I've been forgiven because of a substitutionary atonement. It all makes sense. I'm gonna call my mom or my dad or I gotta let this go. I gotta answer the phone. I believe in my heart
Hi,
that
Norma.
Jesus Christ is Lord. I must confess I'm making a video on the YouTube. I called earlier when Joaquin was here. We were going to see what's up.
Redo my description, it still wasn't right, and they put me through all these changes beyond the time when I've been complaining all along, and they finally agreed to see me. Now they took the boxes to set them back to redo the lenses.
Well, are you going to be around about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll call back or stop by. I'll talk to you later, but I got to keep going on this. I'm exposing the Jews, Norma. See you later. I love her like a rock. Love her like the Rock of Ages. I thought it was somebody going to tell me that, you know what, Paco, you are not showing anything, but it was not. It was what I got planned for this afternoon. You know, it's how hard is it to believe that Kansas City had the mob boss, right? This is right after the Palestine thing, and they were going to, these guys here, Harry Truman and mafia boss Tommy Pendergast, they're planning something here. Like they're going to put this guy that they just said, yeah, he had a local haberdashery store. He stole hats and suits and clothes. He was a tailor, but everybody loved him. And he was a 33-degree Freemason that would do anything the mob said. So they made him the president, did all this, that, other things.
And political corruption flourished in a city that was reputed to have the greatest sin industry in the world.
They can't hear it.
During those years, the mayor was a pawn, the city boss was a crook, the police were crook business. He was perfectly positioned to go into bootlegging, but he fully understood that if
But that's not what this is about. It's just about this guy.
Taking of Aqab. Apparently, Oda's family were so deeply offended by the portrayal of him in this film, they had spent years trying to sue its producers.
Nobody liked this film because it was like, what? He's gay? And then they lied and they stole the land? Wow, this guy probably heard that one
And Tom
before.
Cruise's The Last Samurai. It appears that Hollywood has always endeavored to appeal to its primary demographic, the white male. Such fictionalization and idolization of the key. But what happens when Hollywood's celluloid representation of history via the employing of this trope ultimately distorts the past to the narrative is a theme often
Yeah, did you see the Rolls Royces? Yeah, they did, I guess, charge into battle on horses. Everybody used horses, but they took this over with power, cutting, and then rewrote, you know, LGBTQ history.
in Western cinema, where
And
a
the
white
plus.
character saves a community of people from a crisis. Hollywood fictions of whiteness labels the stories as fantasies
Very
that are
dramatic.
essentially grandiose, exhibitionistic, and narcissistic. Lawrence's
Look at
story and
that.
his role in the Arab
You could ride a
via the way
camel.
it's portrayed in Lawrence of Arabia is a prime example of this cultural narcissism. Based upon a piece of text that itself lacks credibility, his memoir, Seven Pillars of Wisdom, Lawrence of Arabia's only achievement as a film is in its excellence in cinematography and set design, as well as the outstanding acting efforts of its talented cast. Unfortunately, just about every other component of this movie is a political savagery, and is the first of many things that makes Lawrence of Arabia a dishonest and bad film.
Well, they're going to go over so much of this because these people were real. King Faisal was real. He got totally backstabbed. And they didn't use, he's going to show you here, you know, people on horses with swords. Here's your machine guns. Go get them, boys. You New Zealanders, you Australians.
For the insurgents were already trained military
Ouch.
soldiers who were once held in British POW camps. They wore British-style uniforms with kufiyas and fought in conventional battles. Furthermore, the film makes no mention of the Sharifian army and leaves the viewer with the impression that the real-life Hashemite forces were comprised entirely of Bedouin volunteers.
Hashimen means those Bedouins that were living in the sand. They're what they refer to the sand inward. Sorry.
volunteers who were tamed and inspired by Lawrence to fight and win against the Turks. In the film, Prince Faisal, played by Sir Alec Guinness, is portrayed as a tribal.
That's Obi-Wan Kenobi for you people in the know that know all your Star Wars history like I do. From I saw it opening night, stood in line around the block, walked away going, what was that?
His family were so deeply offended by the portrayal of him in this film, they had spent years trying to sue its producers. Played by Omar Sharif, the character of Sharif Ali, the most famous Arab personality in this film, is a purely fictional character, made up of a
Look at that. That's a come hither look of like, well, if that's what it takes to fit in, I'm ready and more than willing. And in real life, too. That's a come hither look if I ever seen one. And they cast him at me. Believe me, at one time I was not so hideous.
The most controversial aspect in his life, both on screen and off. With some 21st century scholars now saying that both versions of the events, the first recounted in his memoir, Seven Pillars of Wisdom,
double crossing, dirty double crosser,
Black or Hispanic, is done in a manner to make their image both feared yet desired, and even admired, despite in itself being an entirely manufactured fantasy created by the admirer. Such desires that make up the fantasies of Lawrence perhaps became the source of
you're looking at, a
content of his memoir. Fantasies that were influenced by the stereotypes ethnic and Middle Eastern men have. And our
that's not what Lawrence of Arabia. You know, that's the longest movie in history that didn't have a female voice in it.
Has been exaggerated
no character from a female.
The reality of what really occurred. The sequence of events have been recut and
because it was LGBTQ gay.
In reality, Lawrence was not alone in his efforts to help defeat the Turkish.
That's enough of that. What's this? That's the picture of the car. I needed to make a thumbnail. This one didn't make it. I wanted to show one with the machine gun. They had them stripped out. But you know what's interesting here is that it's parked on a carpet. He parked it on a carpet. In his garage is a tent, I think. I don't know. Who's the expert in the Photoshop? This is what they showed as the headquarters of the expeditionary force in the movie Lawrence of Arabia. The Suez Canal, Spain, I guess they look the same. There you go, right there, the theatrical movie poster. I am playing the man in 1961. So it's right after the 1958. They're doing the rewrite of history, 1958. That's when NASA, DARPA, United States Defense Education Act of 1958 brought you to the NASA, the STEM, DARPA. The affidavit, he had to swear an oath that the United States hadn't been taken over illegally or unconstitutionally, which left open. It's taken over, but it was done corporately, legally. And if you want to get paid, you got to swear that you will do the whole Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge to the flag. I'm going to defend you against all the enemies. So there was this movie called Lawrence of Arabia. They were rewriting everything. The expeditionary force was a real thing. Look, they made a stamp. That's really all you're going to show? And these British occupied Palestine, which had recently been created. Look at, he did it. No, wait, he was in on it? No, says here, we're going to kill them all and try to hide that the earth is flat and put up dictators, Führers, commandants, because the labor unions are trying to use, they want to get paid. That maybe this will come up again, this expeditionary force. There it is. Oh, I'm not taking that phone call. We got that expeditionary force. Now, look at that. What's with that rope around the, you see, those are not people on cannons. Those are the Australian people with their 13-pound bowling balls. How about that? And Armenians, they were helping them too. There you go. Sir Edmund Allenby entering what they claim is Jerusalem that early, 1917. Where you want to walk in? Where's your Rolls Royce? There's the Star Fort that they claim. Now we found it. We got Palestine and Israel, and we're going to make them into a nation. How do you like them apples? We like them very much. Thank you. And then there's the Australian people that were with them. The Desert Column, they were with them the whole way, man. Sinai Palestine campaign. It says from the 22nd of December. That sounds like one of those equinox things. 1916, appointed on the 7th of December. That's another big day for them, or the 8th, depending on your time zone. So here you go, Australia and New Zealand, go get them, boys. And where's your Rolls Royce? You don't get one. Sorry, guys. Hey, you got the guys from India that they brought into Hong Kong, from Hong Kong, and said, we need you to free the Palestine because these guys can't do it on their own. And this guy said, where's my Rolls Royce? This is getting old. Everybody else is riding around with their puppies and Rolls Royces, and I'm still on a horse. All this to make Israel? They weren't even considering propping up Lawrence of Arabia. They already suspected he was a spy, but they didn't care. They were on his team. Go convince them. Get down on your knees and prove you are a believer in their fake Arab root. It's a Muslim thing with Muhammad wasn't even a real thing. That's invented. That can't pass the zeitgeist test. Look at that. We're going to go to Battle of Beersheba. That's not Beersheba. We saw that picture before. It doesn't get any bigger. So much for let's attack them on the camels. The witty things to say have fled. They're gone. Let's change this. Hey, look at that guy. No, so these were the guys that Lawrence of Arabia backstabbed. They had kingdoms. They had their thing going on. The Australians, New Zealand's came in with them, English in their Rolls Royces, and said, we want to help you set up a new kingdom. But they were lying. They were doing that whole Sykes-Picot agreement thing behind their back. Why do they keep showing the same crown? Does anybody know why they do that? In 1933, they said, you got to go. We put up with you long enough. You fell for that sucker's move, the Lawrence of Arabia. So you didn't always live in a tent? Really? You were promised what? And then you didn't get it? So you got to go. Beat it. Beat it. He's the one who got the most backstabbed, I guess. This was not somebody that didn't get backstabbed. See, they took a picture of him in a tent, and he goes like, wait, I don't always live in a tent. I don't always ride a horse. Where's my Rolls Royce? How come my Star Fort is so small? But he was a real person. He got backstabbed by the Lawrence of Arabia, too. Now, the kings of Bay, this Morocco, where the other side of the top of Africa where the Suez Canal and the Egypt, that's not even really Egypt. Egypt, I believe, is somewhere in North, South America. More than likely, the Mississippi is the Nile. But it all ties together. Because really history is new. And it's been a history of resets. The Bible teaches that what is 7,000 years old. A lot can happen in that time. A lot happened before that, spirit world and all that. Okay. This is the first picture of the Sykes-Picot Agreement. You want a screenshot? There were a lot of things here, even a lot of rivers still working in the Sahara up there, that part of it, right? Roads across that they knew at that time, let's send, whatever we could afford. I don't know if it was 3, 20, 100 Rolls-Royce cars over there. We're going to take these back roads and say it was a miracle, because it'd be a miracle today. Right? We got a lot of pictures here. The Sykes-Picot Agreement. We did it. We're the guys that planned it, did it, our clan. It's a battle of the Freemasons, the mafia. Is that signed by the Rothschilds? So a lot of this, that, and the other thing. Who are these guys? Arab Army. They sent those guys to help. New Zealand and Australia doesn't need any help from all these other people. It's that World War I backstabbery setting up modern day. We're at war with Iran right now over the oil and the Muslims and it's all fake. It's this like fakety doodah, and it makes me want to say, "Come on, people, now, smile on your brother." I wonder if I'm sharing the screen, because I'd be embarrassed if anybody saw that. Huh? Wait, are we done with Lawrence of Arabia? These are vaults in Edinburgh, Freemason vaults. I'm pretty sure. Everything was new here. Is this where the Freemasons met? Workshops for cobblers. No proof the grave robbers used it. Why do you keep throwing that in there? Poor Edinburghs. This is something to do with the Freemasons and the mafia. They did it. Here you go. They were hiding underground. No, they didn't. You know what? The great stink there too. Wait, why do they keep saying that? Why do they keep saying that these are not body snatching resurrectionist hideout places? It only makes me suspect that it probably is. Huh. I thought we were talking about Lawrence of Arabia. Now we got here secret agents. Alexander Horn. He was the person doing proofs of a conspiracy in the late 1700s, mid 1700s, mid to late. Was a member of the Enlightenment that said, hey, wait a minute. These guys are actually trying to use me to help these guys, the Illuminati, take over the world. These guys are dirty double dog. Backstabbery is their playbook. And he wrote a book warning people early about it. If he wasn't so famous, that helped, this guy, and this guy did the Newcomb steam engine. He gets the credit for that. And doing, anticipating. Otherwise, they would have got him. And plus, he hung out at the poker club. And then he's there like, look, we got to expose the fact that there's this conspiracy. It's the Rosicrucians. It's the Freemasons. I thought we were the good guys. And look at all these other things of everybody was trying to go like, hey, It's the Freemasons, they're lying. There's other secret Freemasons. It's the Jacobians. This was not something that the spies couldn't figure out. They always had the spies. It's always the cipher, right? The shadow intelligence, double, triple agent, collaborators, dissidents, blackmailed into being a counter espionage informants. Not really on the payroll. They mentioned Alexander Horn. Let's see, he was a monk who became a secret agent, kind of like 007. Wait, not at all like 007. John Dee or James Bond. Maybe I should do a drink of water before I want to try a Mission Impossible theme song. Boom, 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 boom. Belair. Illuminati conspiracy theories. Everything to keep you from reading the Bible and understanding. It's one thing to be called and chosen. It's another thing to be faithful. We're looking today at the Lawrence of Arabia. Wait, this is just more conspiracy stuff. Arrived at maturity, he bustles with independence of thought and of speaking and writing naturally, of abstract ideas, first principles. Yet he has learnt all which he knows, forgetting from whom he learnt it. What? Is that what you Rosicrucians believe? What is this? What are we looking at? It's a book. Oh, it's one of those books from the footnotes of the article in the Wikipedia about the Illuminati. Proofs of the real existence and dangerous tendency of Illuminati. So this conspiracy didn't start with Aleister Crowley, Madame Blavatsky, and Ellen White. Yeah, I threw it. Did you see me just get the Seventh-day Adventists in there? Because that's where they belong. Same with Jehovah's Witness, Mormons, Methodists. We need a whole new look at the Trinity and the people that will, cut your skin off, burn you alive if you don't believe in the Trinity. This one was called, it was 480 pages. I got it here. I read like practically 0.1%. I'm going to reread this. Freemasonry. Its pretensions exposed in the faithful extracts of its standard authors, with a review of Towns' speculative masonry, its liability to pervert the doctrines of revealed religion, discovered in the spirit of its doctrines and in the application. It's all those throwing the gang signs. It's more than the 322 and the square and compass. There's a lot more. Well, you know that. This is more boring stuff. Dangerously exhibited that they will kill you. Did anybody get anything else on this? The Lord will be awesome to them when he destroys all the gods of the earth. It kind of fits in with what we've been talking about, right? You know it. All right. Let's keep praying for all of our family members, and let's keep praying that, because it is never too late and you never stop praying. That's going to wrap it up. It's a short show today for a big, big topic. Everything is leading back to the situation of where, honestly, won't you be happy when Monday is over and this whole April 10th through April 20th is over? Because something weird usually goes on. Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's not, but it is always a part of their plan, the plan to blind the people, distract them from their true calling. But the idea is if you're already saved, you're working for it, you go for it. You do this because angels rejoice, everybody else rejoices. If you can get some of those people that used to profess, if you bring those back, I guess that's a big deal in heaven. But we're going to be preaching the gospel and telling them, what we believe as we learn how to make sandals out of yucca plants, in case you missed the beginning of the show. Flat Earth Nation, Golden Age past, mud flood was Armageddon. Me and my friends are never going to tell you anything else except about the flat Earth and the Golden Age past and the stones crying out. We know you have orphan trained brains. We do too. That's why this takes more than a soundbite. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sana. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakamain. Adios, amigos, from the border of southern Colorado and New Mexico. Saying goodbye is not always that much fun.